A very good afternoon to all the respected members, colleagues, and participants. Today, 12th June 2025, Popma Study Club regular series for June edition from 3 p.m. onwards. On behalf of Practicing Oral Pathologists and Microbiologists Association, POPMA, I, Dr. Bhuvan Nagpal, the founder president, warmly welcome you to today's session of OPMA Study Club regular series. We are grateful to see the continued enthusiasm and academic commitment from professionals across the country and beyond. Today's session promises to be intellectually enriching, focusing on a novel microscopic insight into oral cancer, connecting epithelial mesenchymal transition with routine light microscopic findings. To introduce the speaker, it's my pleasure to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Ketki Kalele, Madam, a highly accomplished oral and maxillofacial pathologist, cancer diagnostic specialist, and research entrepreneur. Dr. Kalele is the managing director of Workers Research and Innovations Private Limited, founder director of Neuron Institute of Applied Research, and director of Dentopath, a dedicated oral oncology and histopathology lab. She also holds the position of Vice President of POPMA. With over 10 years of impactful experience, Dr. Ketki has guided over 400 healthcare professionals, facilitated 300 plus research publications, and established 7 research incubation centers across academic institutions. Her areas of innovation include tumor hypoxia, exosome research, and cost effective biosensors for cancer diagnostics. She has delivered more than 90 invited lectures presented at national and international forums such as World Cancer Congress in Spain and authored 50 plus high impact publications. Her contributions have earned her over 15 prestigious awards, including a spot on the national list of 100 influential women by a reputed lifestyle magazine. Dr. Ketki continues to bridge the gap between bench research and bedside care, inspiring the next generation of researchers through her dedication to healthcare innovation and education. So let us join hands together and welcome Dr. Ketki Kalele for her insightful talk. Over to you, Dr. Ketki, madam. You can unmute now.
Yeah. So thank you, sir, for such a warm welcome and introduction. And hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. And thank you for fetching out time to be here at this hour to listen to, my lecture. Well, to brief you all, may I share the screen first? Yes. So, to brief you all, the topic that I have chosen today for the study club, because I thought that, too much of review or, too much of hypothesis or everything would not be the proper thing to deliver in a very short and precise manner. So what I thought was that let us actually unreveal with you all the findings of my own study. Actually, the study was the first of its kind because we gave histopathological, factors or identification parameters for EMT, which was till now done by molecular assays or markers. So we tried to decode its histological or morphometric analysis, and we studied it in early invasive and micro-invasive carcinomas. Okay. So this is more of a journal club type of thing, which I would like to have the vibe of discussion more than just one side lecture, because it was more or less, because we have studied in around 50 slides, it was more or less a piloting, and now much detailed study is being carried out in the academic institutions on over this. So I would just like you all to give your inputs as well as your suggestions of making this happen to a large scale. Okay, so let's begin. Next slide. Okay. So, epithelial to mesenchymal transition for me is not less than the story of Beauty and the Beast, which we all had maybe encountered during our childhood. So, in two more blogs that I have, started for making fiction-based learning in oral oncology, I have actually written epithelial mesenchymal transition in the form of a story of Beauty and the Beast, wherein are the very beautiful epithelial cells that are so much coordinated and so much in bondings with each other, ultimately because of the genetic mutations which come as a spell on them, actually get transformed into very ugly, partial or hybrid stages, just like beast, their phenotypic transformation from epithelium well organized cell to a beast like morphology, which actually is a beast because it gains a lot of motility, lot of potential for metastasis, etc. So this transformation from epithelial phenotype to mesenchymal phenotype is no lesser than the story of Beauty and the Beast that we all have read in our childhood. So this is just a story thing that I wanted to start with, giving us an edge over, a very dry topic at times. So carcinogen trauma, which spread like spell over the very well organized epithelial cell, which later on actually forms the dysplastic cells, and the wall of Castle, which is the basement membrane, gets actually penetrated by them. And therefore, this epithelial to mesenchymal transition causes cancer cells to have motility across the basement membrane, to actually gain a lot of plasticity, cancer stemness, wherein they can go and form really fatal tumor buds and humor crystals. So coming from fiction back to science, I would like to say that as we all know that epithelial mesenchymal transition is a phenomenon that enables epithelial cells to attain a mesenchymal phenotype. Okay, and there are three types of EMTs that we all know. Those are type 1, which is responsible for embryogenesis and development of all the organs. Okay, type 2, of course, is responsible for wound healing and fibrosis, and type 3 is responsible for cancer progression. So this is a schematic representation that I have just, to lay some foundation I have put in. That epithelial cells, we all know the basic characteristics of epithelial cells, which are, they are polygonal in shape, they have apical and basolateral polarization, they have strong cell-to-cell adhesion, limited migratory potential, and their main markers are E-cadherin, cytokeratins, occludin, claudin, connexins, etc. So, basic lies over the morphometric characteristics of epithelial cells, because all these characteristics are later on going to get transformed into mesenchymal type phenotypes. For example, they, from basic polygonal shape, they go to spindle shape. From the polarization, they go to, anterior posterior polarization. Then cell to cell contact gets lost, there is cell individualization, etc. And the main markers that are responsible for for detecting the mesenchymal phenotypes are vimentin and encadherins. There are certain growth factors, not signaling, fibronectins, etc. So this is the basic of epithelial to mesenchymal transition that we are going to see in the next slides. So coming to why the hype, of this EMT. There, right from when I was doing my PG back in 2013-14, we had presented many topics over EMT. Okay, and now also there is so much of work going around this concept of epithelial mesenchymal transition. So why is there so much of hype? So as we all know that OSCC has been a havoc right from, so many years, so many decades have just passed. There are so many advancements based on the molecular level, may that be on the genetic level, may that be on the technological level, everything. So much of multidisciplinary work across the globe has been going, but still we are not able to, fetch a good survival rate. Now here I have written less than 60%, being very optimistic. If you go around stage 3, 4, it is coming to 40, 43% only. Okay. So still we are not we have not been able to actually hit the bullseye as far as the therapeutics and diagnostics is concerned. So why EMT in particular? Because this has been linked to invasiveness of the cancer. It has linked to metastasis, chemo resistance, even radio resistance or treatment failure, we can say, recurrence or relapse. And of course, in cases of, when all these is taken care, still poor patient outcomes. So why I chose this topic, or why was there a lot of curiosity when I felt like going and looking at as a study, because cancer cell invasion, we all know there is an MMP narrative that beforehand, only before the cancer actually happens, from carcinoma in situ like stage to micro-invasive or early invasion, what happens is the cancer cells, they secrete MMPs and streptokinase pathway, and that is how they go beyond the basement membranes, is what traditionally we all know. Okay, but having said that, if that concept is so much conditioned and conventionally taught to us since long times, still when clinical trials were taken, okay, they have shown limited success against the MMP blockers. Okay, and MMP inhibitors were not shown to have a potential reduction in the cancer related mortality. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that along with the MMP and streptokinase mechanisms, there has to be certain other things which are facilitating the tumor invasion. Okay, that may be related to the tumor invasiveness or morphological traits, that may also be related to certain epigenetic cell signaling pathways, tumor stroma interaction, which is gaining so much of limelight these days because so much of nature of cancer is evolving in such ways that so much of talk is there on the tumor stroma interactions, and physical forces in the microenvironment that is also responsible for causing a lot of changes in how the cancer is behaving biologically. So among all those, among the tumor crosstalk as well as tumor microenvironment, epithelial mesenchymal transition has been a consistent phenomenon that is identified as a key mechanism. Okay. So may that be, as I told you, may that be the early invasion of cancer or cancer infiltration, may that be cancer stem cell like properties that the EMT cells are giving, may that be chemo resistance, may that be anti-apoptotic factors, may that be anything. Everything is coming to epithelial mesenchymal transition among the cells. Okay, so that highlights a critical gap in current diagnostic that still rely on the outdated and conventional parameters of assessing cancer. Partial EMT. Now, the thing with oral cancer, or one of the very interesting phenomenon, is that the cells which are undergoing EMT, especially in oral cancer, they are undergoing partial EMT or hybrid EMTs. Now, these partial EMTs or hybrid EMTs are those when the cell exhibit half properties of epithelium and half properties of mesenchyme. It is also known as incomplete EMT. So this partial EMT, which is very unique to squamous cell carcinomas, acts as a double-edged sword in early carcinogenesis. It begins at the earliest stages of carcinogenesis and invasion, even along the disease fronts. And if you try to target these cells in this partial EMT stages, they can actually prevent early infiltration and progression. And if not taken care of, these hybrid state cells, they may evade the EMT targeted therapies also and may lead again to the aggressive disease. So these partial or hybrid EMTs are known to be playing a very notorious role because they are also known for having 40 to 45% recurrence and relapse in treated cases of cancers, as well as the circulating tumor cells or the clone of cancer cells that are present in the body. The cells, those exhibited these phenotypic characteristics of partial EMT, they are known to cause fatal tumors more than complete EMT cells. Okay. So these things needs to be addressed as far as oral squamous cell carcinomas are concerned. Hence, there is an urgent need to revise and upgrade diagnostic as well as reporting systems, which include EMT as one of the reporting parameters. And I felt that until and unless there is so much of dependency on the molecular markers every time for tracing whether this particular phenomenon is present or no, it is not going to come in routine any which ways. Okay. So there has to be something, some system or some parameters which will help us to diagnose it under routine light microscopy. Okay. So reporting, as I told you, that there is often absence of these parameters in reporting because of certain financial and technical challenges that are associated using the IHCs. So now coming to the snapshots of the research that we had conducted. The research paper has already got published in Polish Journal of Pathology, which is having a good impact factor, and it was also under the critical review of O Journal, which also appreciated the hypothesis. But due to the lack of histopathological expertise in their board, this is what the review comments of the reviewers said, that they had only asked us to approach the Polish journal, which will actually meticulously review the histological parameters because they are the first time reported ones. So I enjoyed conducting this research, and the snapshots of our study was, the study focused on identifying EMT features in micro-invasive and early invasive OSCC using routine hematoxylin and eosin stains. This was the first study in English literature to define the EMT histological features at early stages without any advanced immunohistochemistry. And what we found was there were about 5 to 6 histological parameters which were actually found to be present, the EMT parameters, in our routine slides also, among which the most common feature of EMT that was recorded was the presence of dense inflammatory infiltrate in micro-invasive and early invasive carcinomas both, and then the cell individualization was the second most common parameter that was observed in the slides. So these were the histological features that were observed of EMT in under light microscopy. Those were first, loss of apical basal polarity, cell-to-cell adhesion weakening, cell individualization, establish front-back polarity among the cells, and dense inflammatory cell infiltration. Okay. So these features were taken and chosen based upon already studied EMT features, okay, and wherever in the papers that I would be revealing in the coming slides, wherever there were morphometric evaluations, we had also actually, classified them upon when to call and a cell having front back polarity, or when to call the cell that it has weakening of cell to cell adhesion molecules. So these are some of the images. This is a presentation of loss of basal to apical polarity. Now, what is loss of basal to apical polarity? So here we can see that one is, one polarity is a nucleopolarity, wherein we have assessed the position of the apical membrane of the nucleus from the basement membrane. And another one is the cellular polarity, wherein we have assessed the distance between the apical membrane of the cell and the basolateral membranes. So if there is disturbance with this architecture, it was termed as loss of apical to basal polarity. Then coming to loss of cell-to-cell adhesion under light microscope, wherein we can see that, of course, there is loss of connection between the cells. This image represents, of course, the dense inflammatory cell infiltration, which is very common, usually also when we notice among the slides. This is cell individualization as well as, establishment of front-back polarity. The polygonal epithelial cells that are usually present is gaining, the pseudopods. This is an image that is showing the formation of pseudopods among the cells. which are gaining a fibroblast-like morphology. So these were the results showing that the most common parameter that was found in the slide was, of course, the dense inflammatory cell infiltration. And the least common, though, was cell individualization. So coming to the part of morphometric decoding or loss of cell-to-cell adhesion and apical to basal polarity. So how do we decode when we see it from on the morphological level? Whatever is happening in the molecular level, we are trying to decode it under light microscopy. So now this cell-to-cell adhesion weakening at invasive front has been studied, extensively studied. We also report it as one of the factor of epithelial dysplasia. Okay, so when there is when there is breakdown or loosening of the E-cadherines, that is how they are going to get vimentine fibers, because E-cadherine separation will lead to motility of the cell along the basement membrane, wherein the tumor stroma fibroblast, they will assist them immediately by giving the vimentine signaling. Okay, so that is how the motility and transition will start taking place once the cells are devoid of their cellular junctions. The actin fibers will also try to form a shape within the cells. The tight junction, adherence junction, even the gap junction connexins also start dissolving. Thereby, they will get attachment from the fibroblastic stroma. So this actually, is observed by light microscope, and because there is staining contrast among the dense areas and the lighter areas, we have been able to actually spot many of such, in many of such cases. Second is the apical basal polarity loss. So this is also a quantitative morphometric analysis which can be examined, as I told you, by the distance between the upper pole of the nucleus and the basement membrane and the apical membrane of the cell and the basement membrane. So why is there so much of disorganization among the basement membrane? And we also again report it under the epithelial dysplasia also. So there are many complexes like PAR complexes that are responsible for apical basal polarity. There are basolateral components, the scribble components, the big larva components, and all these integrins in the stroma actually give signaling for loss of apical basal polarity. So this kind of schematic representation actually shows us the tumor epithelial stroma interactions, wherein integrins and the new and other microenvironment of the stroma actually leads to formation of such complexes, which will lead to more motility among the cells. Then coming to cell individualization. So cell individualization, of course, once there is no pressure to the cells because of loosening of the junctional complexes, what will happen? The cell will start throwing each other off, and this cell individualization is actually the first marker for early invasion. Okay, it is seen as single cell or sometimes tumor buds, okay, that are present at the epithelial to mesenchymal interface, and it is because of loss of adhesion as well as loss of polarity. Then coming to the dense inflammatory infiltration. So we all know that inflammation is playing so much of crucial role as far as cancer progression, cancer therapeutics, everything is concerned. So this inflammation also has got a huge role to play as far as EMT is concerned. And how is that? So pro-inflammatory mediators, they will recruit the immune cells at the tumor fronts, and it will trigger the EMT, which will lead to the cancer cell survival. Okay, this is also responsible for why there is a failure of immunotherapy also at times, because these cells are supporting the cells by and their survival by promoting EMT among those, so that they can gain stronger phenotypes for survival. Okay, so histologically, how have we actually seen this inflammation? We have seen it either in the form of band-like or cup-like or patchy pattern, okay, among the tumor stroma interface. And This Klintrup et al. Has actually, studied this dense inflammatory cell infiltration in EMT and tumor invasive fronts as far as this phenomenon is concerned. Now coming to the front-back polarity among the cells, actually this is my favorite parameter because this actually validates our point, okay, that the polygonal shaped cells are getting the invadopodia and pseudopodias and they are actually becoming fibroblasts-like. So spindling and all is, validation basically. So we have seen that with quite clear clarity, okay. So according to this Lemoyne et al., the actin cytoskeletal reorganization and vimentin expression, of course, leads to cell spindling and motility. Now, these changes are a result in membrane protrusion, invadopodia with cells adopting a mesenchymal or fibroblastoid phenotype that can be appreciated histologically. So these authors have also done, a lot of research, and they have said that these kind of fibroblastoid phenotypes can be appreciated histologically, and their research is published in Nature Reviews. So this formed the basis of our histological decoding, okay? That in OSCC especially, because I have already mentioned that we have partial EMT in much of the quantity rather than complete EMTs, okay? So that will drive stemness and circulating tumor cells, which will not only metastasize, but will go for forming fatal tumor clones. So this partial EMT, which shows both epithelial and mesenchymal traits, they can be traced not just at the molecular level, but also at morphological levels, which have already been established by many profound researches. Therapeutic targeting of this partial EMT phenotype seems to be the best strategy to actually overcome the poor prognosis, which also has been given by Chinese authors, Liu et al., in their extensive research of, what is the best parameter or one of the best parameters probably to control the prognosis in cancer patients. So what are the histopathology takeaways with this research study is now we all know that according to AGCC8, there are certain parameters that we all actually in our day-to-day histological reportings. Those may be, the type of differentiation, depth of invasion, tumor thickness, margins, all these things, okay? We all do it. Now, sometime early, then I think previously in 2-3 years, we have also been shifting our focus to the cellular and architectural aspects along the invasive fronts. We are meticulously reporting the invasive fronts of the tumors. Then we are all talking about the tumor stroma relationship, okay, extensively, and the crosstalk between this epithelial and stromal tissue. Again, bone invasion has also come into picture, okay. Now, detailed reporting is the need of an hour, okay, because although we know or we don't know, or maybe we are not so much in talk as far as, our oral surgery counterparts are concerned, but histopathology reporting holds a lot of responsibility, and it also is very, very important as far as you're reporting a malignancy. There are many decisive factors from your report that a surgeon may get clues from, or an oncologist may get clues from. So detailed reporting should consist of pattern of invasion, tumor budding, lymphocytic post response, okay, tumor associated tissue, stromal tissue, eosinophilia, muscular invasion, and TSR, which is the tumor stroma ratio. So these things are absolutely important to report, and many studies have actually said that including one of our study wherein we have seen that muscular invasion in oral cancer holds equal or more significance than the depth of invasion also, because when there is muscle invasion by cancer cell, that means they are so adamant that they can even resist the lactic acid production by the muscles, okay. So if the tumor cells are surviving even in the acidic environment, that means they are going to have a very worrisome prognosis. So these features in detailed reporting are extremely important, and this was proposed by Pallavi et al. Very recently in 2023. And now we suggest to also report EMT features in your day-to-day practice. Of course, I also warrant more and more research students and their guides to take up studies related to these aspects, wherein we can validate multi-center data and come up with actual parameters that can be validated in our studies. So to wrap up, I would like to say that EMT is key. Okay, it is very crucial in even in early OSCC. Usually we link EMT to metastasis, okay, or to advanced stages. But many studies have reported that EMT is actually present along the early stages also, and we have also in our study we have taken all micro-invasive and early invasive cases of cancers. Targeting EMT may stop cancer, okay, or I may put it may help to stop cancer. Then it can be seen under routine histopathology. So histopathologists should actually start at least observing these features in their routine cases. Accuracy, although was very much essential in our study, and that also contributed to one of the limitation, because artifacts in the slide actually are one of the major factors wherein we cannot appreciate so much of cellular details. And of course, dense inflammatory cell infiltration, also gives so much of obscure vision to the slide. So, you should have a proper least stained and technically very sound slide to report and observe such features of EMT. So I just hope my lecture today might have given some interesting insight to all the pathologists over here. And the research ahead actually should lie on related parameters, wherein we all can together from our centers give potential data to each other and have a collaborative research on this. I just wanted to highlight more and more research activity among the POPMA family. And with this, I would like to conclude my topic. Thank you all for patient listen.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Ketki. It was a wonderful lecture and quite insightful. Uh, Anybody would like to have questions? I think Dr. Abhishek sir has asked the question. So, was inflammation chronic, acute, or mixed variant in the study? So, his question is
Yes, so basically, it was a chronic one mostly. Not much of the mixed nature of inflammatory infiltrate was observed.
okay.
Thank you, Doctor, for that very informative session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
Anybody would like to add or um any comments or
Yes.
anything?
So definitely, I would like to really appeal everyone that
Yeah, because
because we are holding
it's an interactive one. Dr. Nidhi
yes.
Jadhav ma'am, she is the moderator for today session, but due to some circumstances, she was not able to join in the beginning. So ma'am has joined, and over to you, ma'am. You can add your insights and can take the questions, yeah, please.
Hi, ma'am. Dr. Ketki, the presentation was excellent. Am I
Thank
audible?
you. Yes,
Yes, you are
yes.
audible, ma'am.
Your topic was no doubt very interesting. It was a line which we have to draw between precancerous and cancerous state. And we, many a times we miss to see these small, small features that I was literally listening to all the small, small things that you told. They were great. One doubt I have, and we probably all of us as pathologists have when we are reporting a borderline case. There are situations where all those changes morphological that you have explained, they are there. Many a times the cells have invaded. The pretty ridges are downly proliferating. The cells are proliferating. Drop-shaped pretty ridges are there. Those alterations are there. But we are not able to really demarcate the basement membrane, because we
Yeah.
have been told that basement membrane is very important, whether it is having good integrity or it is disrupted. So what is your take on such cases? when you want to differentiate between, like, I would say, early invasive case from a precancerous one?
Actually, here, especially in our study, they were already diagnosed cases. We have retrospectively reviewed, first of all. But when I saw the criteria for microinvasion, so they are saying that, from the non-neoplastic side of the epithelium, they measure the actual, suspicious range, and if anything, 0.5 to 2 mm is the cutoff from that, along the suspicious tumor invasion. Okay. So if anything is coming beyond 0.5 to 2 mm, they were reporting it as microinvasive. And as far as breach in the basement membrane is concerned, so our traditional thing is pass. You can always go for highlighting the basement membrane and then measuring the distance of the surface epithelium to the point of suspicion.
Yes, that past thing is definitely there. But at times it's like very difficult clinically and histopathologically. Okay, anyways, in the report part, like all the parameters that you told, that if we mention, like how does it make a difference in the surgical therapeutic aspect? Like, are the
Yes,
surgeons
yes.
really on the part? What's your observation on that? Are they really looking at all those features that we are writing so much in detail, like
Yes,
whatever
in
you told?
fact, yes, yes. In fact, the point is that, I have done this thing in my own lab also. That once I just report, the way many people report that it's a well differentiated oral squamous cell carcinoma is what they require. But along with that, I have also given reports wherein I have reported all those, tumor invasion, invasive front, the depth of invasion, the tumor thickness. So people started demanding the other reports more than, the basic reports.
Yeah,
So many a times,
this is in relation to a Frank CA case. I am more confused when it comes to a borderline wherein, like
microinvasion.
erythroplakia, especially the erythroplakias have a lot of such range, where it's not a
Correct.
frank invasion. It's not a frank invasion, but all these morphological parameters now it becomes dicey to convey to the surgeon. Whether they have to go for a extensive surgery, or when you are seeing high dysplasia, basement membrane is not really seen visibly properly, and there is a lot of alteration, cellular alteration in the cell. So that is the case where it becomes little confusing, practically speaking, day to day. What is your
Yeah.
take on that?
So basically, we have to put a query mark only, and wherein micro-invasive cancers are concerned, I do routinely report it as micro-invasion. Now, the decision lies with the surgeon. Many times, the decision also lies with the clinical appearance, healing of the patient, and all those. So, it is basically many times in such cases, they are clinico-pathological correlation. As far as reporting of EMT features are concerned, so this we are taking or observing this with larger cohort and larger data to actually analyze whether these EMT features are so much prevalent in early and micro-invasive carcinomas, and whether they can actually prove, to be of therapeutic use in future.
Prognosis wise, later on they should be correlated.
Correct, because if you talk about all the recent discoveries, may that be hypoxia, may that be EMT, okay, may that be tumor stroma, crosstalks, may that be immunotherapy, everything is coming down to EMT.
I have no doubt
So
it has to be
yeah,
very.
so if so much of toll we are taking on this parameter, then why just limit it to molecular assays? Many of the articles have also reported that morphologically also they go alteration. So I think it is very easy for us to routinely observe whether there are such parameters present in your early invasive or advanced cases too.
Absolutely, because this is going to be anytime cost effective in day-to-day practice. We can't go for molecular if very
Yeah.
in the
Sorry, the
real life
markers,
scenario. It's right.
Yes. So that is
Uh,
the
Ni-
point of discussion.
Nidhi
Yeah,
ma'am, I
no.
have something to add. Dr. Bhuvan, can I speak on this
Yeah.
early
Please, sir.
invasion?
Please,
Yeah, yeah,
please go ahead,
yeah.
sir. Yes, yes.
Yeah, this we had a problem in here when we are reporting, we had reported it as an early invasion case of squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue, lateral tongue, and this slide went to the general pathologist. So surgeons, when there is an early invasion, they do ask for the blocks, and so when they went to that this one, the general pathologist said no, it is just dysplasia.
Yeah.
An excision would be good enough. So they said like that. So the surgeon was really confused. So what he did was he put all three of us on call. The surgeon was there, the general pathologist was there, and we were there. And uh, the general pathologist asked, this is what I'm seeing. So what the slide that the general pathologist saw, she saw a deeper slide, okay, where this invasion was not being seen, where she cut the slide again, the slide that we had reported, there was some individual islands that we could appreciate. So there was a discussion like the depth, if it is more than 0.5 mm beyond the basement membrane, you're seeing some island, okay, and you're seeing no tangential sections that you can see connective tissue cores within the epithelium, you can say that there is early invasion or there is invasion, frank invasion. But if your surface epithelium there is tangential sectioning and there are, you see some individual islands, so we should think that this could be a part of an continuous epithelium that has come in this section, okay. So this looking at deeper section is important, looking at the epithelium, how it is appearing, whether it is tangentially, you have a lot of connective tissue cores, that is important. Then making sure the embedding is right, where we get it all right and we don't do the tangential sectioning over there, and the presence of dysplasia. A lot of atypical features, and you're seeing within the island also the same thing. You're seeing a very bland epithelium and you're seeing an island there, and you can think of a tangential sectioning that has happened, but you see a lot of atypical features on the epithelium, and you can see in that individual islands which is more than 0.5 mm away, microns away from the basement membrane, you can think of early invasion, Nidhi ma'am. So this is what we are doing, taking deeper sections and looking.
Deeper section always helps, no doubt. That
Yes.
is there.
No, very, very valid point, sir has elaborated, and I also agree with the same, because many a times this is a major thing which has to be like seen.
Sorry, I was dropped out of the meeting, maybe because of the this one. Nidhi ma'am, I hope you understood like what we did and what like just the distance between the basement membrane more than 0.5
The
microns.
tangential part, so definitely that's excluded because the grossing findings also give us an idea of that probably in this tissue are we getting the tangential that point to definitely clear in my mind. But I'll
Okay.
share one photographs in our group where it was
Yeah.
very difficult and especially this
Mhm.
happens with the
Mhm.
cases of erythroplakia as what we have observed.
Mhm.
Erythroplakias, which clinically do not look, they are not like frank CA cases as of now clinically. Only few of those cases where it was little
This case
dicey.
was a simple homogeneous leukoplakia where we had this difficulty, and
Yeah, I was also saying the same thing, sir. I totally agree with your part, and this is the practical tip I also follow in my practice to see like uh, whether early invasion is there or not, because this is the only best way. Otherwise, if tangential cut is there and you get confused, and then the reporting will vary and the treatment outcome also. So it's a very valid point.
Tangential part, what we prefer doing is we put it in words because it happens sometimes that our slides might go for a review some other place. So that is
Yes.
always better to put it in a statement that there is some islands which have come up due to tangent because the grossing part we would have seen. The next person would not be getting to see the grossing if there was a possibility of folds coming in. So that part I think can be written anytime. That saves us always. But I was talking in relation to especially precancerous states where erosions are there and few highly dysplastic cases. I'll share few photographs of few
yeah, yeah,
where
Actually,
please,
the
ma'am.
tumor invasive front is always very, very tricky because now we at least know that what is the pattern of invasion. But in early cancer, like we had seen in early invasive carcinomas, and even one of the parameter is cell individualization. So when individual cells are like choot rahe hai from the epithelium, and they are dysplastic looking cells, still we are confused. We take now in this study we have taken opinions of 4 pathologists. Okay, so whether, because it is a subjective thing also. For me, it may look, just 9-8 is okay. For somebody, it may look early invasive. For other, it may also resemble sometimes artifact.
Subjective
So,
variations that is
yeah,
also
so
there.
there are a lot of subjective variations also when you report such borderline cases.
Correct.
So
Sir, we have any other questions from the chat box?
there is a comment by Dr. Anita Florence. Ma'am, can we have the article or study link or
Yes.
PDF which you have discussed?
Yes.
So,
I'll certainly provide the PDF, but I would like to tell that it is an open access article.
Okay.
You can get
But
it.
anyways, you
Yeah.
share the link, Doctor.
Yes.
You will get the link from this email ID, and you can ping. There different numbers are also there. You can ping WhatsApp. So this is the helpline number for POPMA. So that's one. Any further questions? Okay. I now request Dr. Nidhi ma'am to give the vote of thanks and provide the token of appreciation to Dr. Ketki madam.
I'm very thankful to Dr. Ketki ma'am for presenting such a nice lecture on this topic, which is most of the times not touched, but it is very, very important. And thank you for giving time, preparing, and presenting all the minute details of this topic. It was great listening to you. So I would like to present this certificate to Dr. Ketki. Heartiest congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Ketki, for your very insightful presentation and